Hello and welcome to Sporting Jibberish. I'm Stuart Booth.
Hi, I'm Jack Luffman. How are we, Stu?
I'm good. Look at the sunshine. Look at that. It's lovely.
Costa del Woodall Spa, mate. Costa del Woodall Spa. Beautiful. Although it's been the only morning, I think, in the last week that it's not been raining. So we're taking full advantage.
And so you should. I am unfortunately back in the sandbox where it is just as bright, but it's like 600 degrees outside.
I did see the forecast, 45 or something today, I think it said.
So we are not venturing outside until the sun has gone down. And even then, I think when I landed 2 days ago, it was 35 degrees, and that was at 1 o'clock in the morning.
Outrageous.
Yeah.
Outrageous.
Right. Enough about the weather and the sunshine. It's exciting times. It's almost here, Jack.
Oh, he's loving it, and he look at him. He's got the badge on.
I keep grabbing the wrong side, looking at the camera.
What? Oh, he's absolutely branded himself up this morning. He's excited.
I am very excited. So on today's show, if you haven't guessed, we'll be talking Premiership football. We're talking about the ins and outs of what is going on at Paris Saint-Germain and the one and only Lionel Messi. Steven Gerrard and Rangers who's going to pop up. We're also going to be covering a little bit about the Olympics as that's now finished. We're going to chuck in some sleep times. We'll be talking cricket in a short while. And we're going to finish off the show with the return of the old boy Larko.
I'm very excited
about.
I'm very excited about that. The old boy. We've not seen him for I don't know how long. He's proper had a summer holiday away from the desert and see the family and show Aoife off. So I'm looking forward to what his musings are.
Yes. So that'll appear at the end of the show. We're going to start off with the Premiership. We did try and get hold of Matty for his predictions last week, our so-called football expert. And he's actually come back to me. So I've got his top four in front of me right now. He's gone for City first place, United second, Chelsea third, and Liverpool fourth. And his bottom three is quite surprising actually. He's gone Newcastle to finish bottom, Watford second from bottom, and Burnley third from bottom. I'm guessing it's that order. It may just be any particular order, but yeah, he's gone for
Newcastle. I mean, I know they're I was only talking to my dad about them the other night about Steve Bruce and things. And I know they're a strange club and things aren't right clearly, but they won't finish in the bottom three. I think Steve Bruce got too much about him, hasn't he, for that to happen? Of course, if he's there for the whole season, obviously, but yeah, that's not going to happen.
You'd think so. You'd think that squad should have enough in it, especially with the likes of Callum Wilson's going to pick you up a fair few goals.
Yeah,
Maximum's a class player. Absolutely, really.
I thought that there might be a few offers in for him, to be honest, in the summer, but still time, of course, still time. But
yeah,
and of course they're just about to sign or hopefully get over the line Willock from Arsenal for I think 25 mil. It said.
Yeah, I think that's a snippet as well. That's a good buy. I think that.
I agree. Yeah.
But right, yeah. So the Premiership starts this Friday. Actually, the first game is Brentford versus Arsenal. Friday night kickoff. That'd be an interesting test for the new boys. And Arsenal, very much an unknown quantity at the moment because it's Mikel Arteta's had obviously a full pre-season with the squad. So it'd be interesting to see where they are and how far along they've come since Arteta's reign. So that could be quite a tricky tie to predict.
Yeah, and I would imagine that because Brentford's ground's it's fairly new, it's quite small, isn't it? So a bit like our Bournemouth, when they first came in, I would imagine that the fans will, if they're not up for the first ever game in the Premiership, then they may as well not go. But I imagine that won't be easy for Arsenal. And I'm looking forward to seeing Tony because I almost put him in my fantasy team, almost, but. Because I think he'll score goals, but it's whether they get chances. That's the issue. But yeah, I'm interested to see how he goes because he scored goals all the way through the leagues, wherever club he's been at. So I'm looking forward to seeing that, and I'm hoping, obviously being a Spurs fan, that he bags a few against the Gooners, and at least they'll be bottom for at least one game or at least 24 hours, wouldn't they? Then.
That would be your ideal situation, wouldn't it? But we'll move swiftly on because Saturday also throws up some really interesting ties. The daytime kickoff for back home, or the 3:30 kickoff for us in Dubai, is Man United versus Leeds. I think this is it is such a stern test. I think for United's new boys, coming in, are they going to be Jordan Sancho? Is he going to be ready at it right from the get go? Leeds will attack them and they will go full guns, no doubt about it. Leeds have had a poor pre-season.
Yeah.
So does that not bode well, or is it a case of once the season starts, they forget all about that? So that'd be interesting for them. Then we have the 3 o'clocks, which are 6 o'clocks for Dubai. It's Burnley, Brighton. Avoid that at all costs. Chelsea, Crystal Palace. I think that's going to be a difficult time for Palace because if Chelsea get an early goal, this could be a good scoreline. I could see Chelsea putting 4 or 5 past them.
Yeah, and Palace seem to be a little bit behind everything, don't they? They've got the manager quite late. They've lost a lot of players on the free transfer thing. They have signed a couple, but they seem to me like they're a little bit behind where they would like to be. I'm pretty sure of that. Yeah. So yeah, that's a tricky opener for them.
Yeah, and I think as we record this, I think Chelsea still have maybe another at least 24 hours, if not a little bit longer, if they manage to sign Lukaku and get him registered in time for the game on Saturday. So there's still potential for Lukaku to sign and play in that game. Everton versus Southampton. That's another interesting one because Southampton getting rid of their talisman up front, and Everton under new management, which has not had an easier starts, with James now turning around and potentially not going to play again for Everton. Spitting his dummy. So could be all sorts of issues going on there.
Southampton made a good signing, confirmed yesterday, I think I read. Armstrong from Blackburn.
Yeah, Adam Armstrong. Yeah, he was one of the leading goal scorers in the Championship. Yeah. So it's a case of can he make that step up into the Premiership. But yeah, but watch that with a nice little bit of anticipation. I think another good time for the 3 o'clocks, Leicester versus Wolves.
Yeah.
That could go either way. Leicester will be buoyant after their victory against City, although City did play a very, very weakened team. So Leicester could be fired up for that. And Wolves have got Jimenez back. So, once that guy's firing, then they're always going to be a threat. The last game at 3 o'clock is New Boys Watford playing Aston Villa, who've probably been the most active in the transfer window so far, signing maybe 4 or 5 players. So we'll see how they settle. And potentially Ings getting on the score sheet, because I believe Ollie Watkins is carrying a little slight knock at the moment, so he might not be available. And they might not risk him now they've got Danny Ings.
No. I mean, if I assume, I don't know, but you'd have thought that he's signed Ings to play with Watkins. You can't imagine they're only domestic competition, so it's not like they've got hundreds of fixtures. You'd have thought they're going to play them together if they're both fit. And that could be. That's quite a frightening front two, I think. Definitely goals in it. Watkins has got some pace. I thought he was a little bit unlucky to miss out on the Euro squad because of that pace and finish. So I think if they can get them playing well together, that could be a real dangerous partnership if he's going to play them together, of course.
Yeah, definitely. And it'd be interesting because I had a look at when I was doing my fantasy football team, Ismail Sarr for Watford. He was borderline, do I put him in, do I not? But I've opted not to put him in at the time being. So we'll see how they set up there. And the last game of the day involves the two birds. Norwich City Canaries versus the Liver Birds of Liverpool. 8:30 or 5:30 if you're back in England, which is a repeat of the game 2 years ago, although the game 2 years ago was actually in Anfield. So that'll be an interesting fixture. And Liverpool at the moment have Bobby Firmino scoring, Mane scored, Jota scored, Salah scored. So who does he play up front? That would be.
Who's going to play left back though? Because Robert's been out for a few weeks.
Yeah. Tsitsikas, the Greek lad, had played well the other night. I think he'll just come in like for like. He's had a good pre-season. And then you've always got the ever reliable James Milner if he's not convinced. But I think we'll probably see the Greek lad start that game. I'm just interested to see who the partnership for the centre backs are going to be, because Matic was supposedly furthest ahead of all the centre halves. Canante's obviously just coming into the club, but then Van Dijk's played games and so has Gomez now. So we could see a complete change of formation. Liverpool could go 3 at the back, or we might just see the traditional 4-4-2. 4-3-3. It's intriguing to see what each club's going to do slightly different, because I know last year Liverpool wanted to play a really high line. I got punished several times with that high line, so I'm hoping that we're not going to do that and just keep pushing up, because that we came unstuck at Aston Villa when we did stuff like that. So we'll see how that goes. And then on Sunday, got 2 matches, Newcastle versus West Ham. Again, it's another intriguing game because you're looking there at, can West Ham carry on the form from last season? Newcastle will be desperate to make St James's Park a fortress because they'll need them points to make sure they stay safe.
I'm just not sure about West Ham.
Yeah.
I'm just not sure about them. I'm not sure how good they were last year. I think they've just gone on a bit of a roll. Lots of clubs, we said it a lot last season, lots of clubs in and around them kept losing and beating each other, and they're the ones who sort of put a run together. I wouldn't surprise me if they were in the bottom half.
Ooh, brave. And then the last game on Sunday, which is a very, very interesting game, Spurs versus Man City. So we know now that whatever happens, Harry Kane is not likely to play for either team.
Well, you say that, but I was instead I reckon he's up for selection for Spurs. So I've got no idea. But a little bit like, forget the Kane thing, a bit like you were saying, Liverpool, I'll be intrigued to see what system he's playing. Because in pre-season, he has picked an attacking lineup, obviously without Kane. He has picked all of the boys. So he's been playing Son, Bergwijn, Moura, Dele. They've all been playing. So I just hope he doesn't bottle it come league game because it's Man City, etc. And again, intriguing to see how the new boys fit in. So the young lad Gil from the Spanish lad who's obviously been at the Olympics, I don't think he will play, albeit they reckon that he had a holiday before the Olympics, so he doesn't need another one effectively. But he's actually an out-and-out left winger. So he's got Ryan Sessegnon back. We've obviously got Reguilon as well. So it'd be interesting again, because obviously Nuno's preferred system has been the 3 at the back, hasn't it, with wing backs?
Yeah.
But he hasn't really played that in pre-season. So I can't imagine he's going to revert back to that first game, particularly against Man City. But it'll be interesting. And again, from City's point of view, it'll be interesting to see who he plays, because arguably he's still not got a number 9. So will he play a false 9? If so, who's that going to be? Is Grealish going to play? Interesting team six. As always, I think first game of the season, but there'll be a manager somewhere that'll spring a surprise, won't there?
Oh, definitely. Just out of interest, because you played Arsenal last week. How are you going against Arsenal?
Yeah, 1-1. No, I was about to say actually. So they played this Mind Cup, haven't they? So lots of Premier League teams have been playing friendlies against each other, which I don't know where that's come from, but by the by. So they're playing the Mind games, and they drew 2-2 against Chelsea last Thursday and apparently got battered. And then we're a bit better against Arsenal. 1-0. Son scored. So Son scored 7 in pre-season, I think. They've all scored. Bergwijn scored. Dele's got 4. Lucas Moura's got a couple. So, pre-season, what does it actually mean? But a win against Arsenal, I think it's quite competitive. And of course, you might have seen that when Saka came on, the Spurs fans gave him a standing ovation.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah.
Who is Harry Kane? Who don't even know who he is.
I'll send him back to Leyton Orient.
Yeah. Right. We'll move off from Premiership and we'll look forward to seeing what happens over the weekend. And we'll see if Matt can get into one of them games and give us a bit of feedback on it. But probably the biggest news this week is the news about Messi. Just came out of nowhere. Barcelona came and announced a statement first. I'm not going to go through it all because unless you've been living under a rock, everybody's been talking about it. And he's parted ways and as of this morning, or as of last night, signed for Paris Saint-Germain.
Yeah, I mean, bizarre how it came about. I don't think you've heard the end of it as well with Aguero, because he apparently wasn't happy because he was promised to play with his mate, etc., etc. And now he's got a 10-week injury, I see. So I don't think we've heard the last of that bit. But yeah, then Messi, I think there was only one. Once that was announced, there was only really one place he was going, wasn't there?
Yeah, I think it would have been brilliant to see him in the Premiership.
Yeah.
But I'm glad he's not gone to Man City. I would have loved to have seen him at West Ham, I think. That would be a really good signing. in one side, Antonio the other, what could go wrong? But yeah, it's a shame that he's not. But I just think, I look at that Paris Saint-Germain team, and you've got to be thinking, they've got to be odds-on favourites to win the Champions League. And what on earth, how do you motivate them players to play week in, week out against the French teams that are absolutely useless? They should be scoring 10 a game.
Yeah, I know. I was saying last night when I think it was a fishing out, so his press conference or whatever, speaking to Dad, and we were saying that like Pochettino is under the most pressure you'll ever be under because he has to deliver. You'd have thought they're going to walk the La Ligue or whatever they call it, Liga One.
Ligue 1.
But you know they've got to win the Champions League, haven't they? With that side, Neymar, Mbappe, Messi, Di Maria.
You've got Di Maria, Johnny Wijnaldum, Verratti, Sergio Ramos, Marquinhos, Donnarumma, Hakimi. You know, the list goes on and on. But from the fallout from that, they think that there's going to be at least 10 players now having to be shipped out to try and balance the books. Because obviously you've got the FIFA Fair Play on the back, and then obviously they need to be able to sustain what they're currently doing. So I believe Herrera's up for grabs, and could be some absolute bargains be had from that Paris Saint-Germain time.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that because there's one thing I hadn't done it, so pleased you brought it up, that they've got to be cutting the fine line for the UEFA fair play with all those on the wages. So like you say, there could well be some bargains flying around from Paris Saint-Germain for, of course, English clubs, if they don't want to stay on the continent, English clubs it's not bad because they can actually commute to begin with, can't they? Because of the so it's not a massive far away, you know. So it will be interesting. Because when does the window shut? Is it 31st of August?
Did they not extend it? I'm not 100% sure because I know they did the extension, didn't they? And then they changed it to stop for the start of the season, but obviously that's not going to happen now because season starts now. So it might be the end of August.
Yeah. So that'd be good. But Pochettino is, and I'm pleased for him, but he is under immense amount of pressure there now. Immense.
Yeah. And then we talk about Poch, we keep on the formula of managers. Steven Gerrard, having done so superb to win the Scottish Championship, has fallen at the first hurdle in the Champions League.
Yeah, I'm surprised about that. They lost in the league, didn't they? They lost the unbeaten run on Saturday. So they've actually lost 3 games in a row. So the league game was sandwiched by the 2 Champions League legs. I mean, it'll be devastated at that because I did see it would have been the back end of last season when they won an interview with him saying, yeah, we've got to push on now. And one thing, and for his CV as well, the Champions League had to be on it, I think. And last night I saw some highlights that, of course, they were 1-0 up against 10 men. And then lost 2-1, 4 to an aggregate, poor result. So he's now got to make sure he qualifies for the group stage of the Europa League, hasn't he? Has to do that.
Yeah.
Obviously he's got to get the league stuff back on track, which I'm sure he will because they've signed some good players, haven't they? But, interesting times.
Yeah, I watched the game against Dundee United that they lost to. Dundee United worked so hard in that game that they deserved something out of it. And Rangers just huffed and puffed, but just didn't really have enough about them. Morella's kind of like sulked around the pitch, didn't really get involved. If you missed a good chance early on, and they just seemed to just disappear out the game. They signed Ludstrom from Sheffield United.
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you, you didn't even know he played. He barely touched the ball. It just so one-paced. Ryan Kent was just average, very, very average, and he was like their spark player last year that got on the ball, made something happen. They look like end of season game where they look dead on their feet. Just not a lot of life in them. So there's some work to be done there in order to turn that around quickly because may we say it, maybe there might be another team that emerges from Scotland victorious. Celtic don't look a team at the moment. Rangers might not do. Hearts have had, I think, 1-2 out of 2.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe we might see Aberdeen pop up at some point.
I mean, for Scottish football, not that I really care about the national team, I'll be quite honest, but for Scottish football, it would be good for them to have a more competitive at a high level because, of course, you can be competitive but at a low level. Yeah. But it will be much better if Celtic and Rangers are driving forward, and there's no doubt with Gerrard in charge, he will want to be better than what he came in at. So maybe that would be good for Scottish football if there were 3, 4, 5 teams fighting it out. And because let's be honest, over the last 15, 20 years, it's been a 2-horse race, and of course it was a 1-horse race once Rangers had to rebuild themselves, and now it's still just a 2-horse race. So it'll be interesting to see. But Gerrard's got some work to do.
Certainly does. Certainly does. Right. Okay. We're gonna come off football for a little bit. We're gonna go to Olympics. It finished. Was it Thursday last week?
Sunday, I think. Was it the
was it Sunday, the final day?
Closing ceremony in the
Yeah. So I did catch. I think that my biggest story was, and I watched a little bit of this, called the Modern Pentathlon.
Oh yeah.
And what the game Modern Pentathlon is born out of being the best soldier. That's where it was invented from. Right. So being able to run, being able to swim, being able to like move across different planes of land, and then being able to shoot as well, and be able to do hand-to-hand combat. So they have the fencing in there, they obviously have the horse riding event in there, they have a swimming event in there, they have a run with a laser shooting competition in there. But the most, I think the biggest standout one was, it's never going to be done like that again. They're going to change the format of it for the next Olympic Games. The Modern Pentathlon is going to have a revamp, which obviously is going to be good for moving forward. But what I did find interesting was the German girl going into the horse riding. They get drawn out of a hat, the horses they get given. Yeah. So literally 20 minutes beforehand, Jack comes along, pulls out a name, goes and meets the horse for the first time, has 20 minutes pre-riding, and then goes out and completes the course. But unfortunately, the German girl got given a horse that was not responding well to the way she was treating it. And she's coming under a lot of scrutiny for this. She was digging her heels in, whipping the horse really hard, and he just refused to jump. And even the horse got a punch off the German's coach towards the end of it. And when I first read about the punch, I thought like it was a proper thing, but it was more of a, as the horse was walking away, the backhand came out and smacked the horse in the back of the leg. Doesn't justify and make it any better, but just to put it in a little bit more context. So that ruined the girls' chances of Olympic gold simply because this, which then made me think, obviously, the way the girl has behaved and the way she treated the horse is outrageous, the way the coach has done that, and they've both been banned, which I completely agree with. But why would they put both the athlete and the horse under pressure in that type of scenario to start with? I don't understand that.
It's a. I mean, I knew that they obviously read about the story. I knew that the format was where they get any horse kind of thing. You're right, because I'm guessing because what you were just saying there, but I didn't realise it was born from like being the best soldier or whatever. I'm guessing that's part of it, being the best horseman from years ago, that you didn't know what horse you were getting or whatever. You didn't know you were going to be riding Barrichello into war or whatever. So you had to, you just get a random one. But yeah, it's an interesting point, particularly because health and safety and all that kind of stuff as well, a little bit maybe. But good one. But of course, Britain did well, both golds in both the women's and the men's event, didn't they?
Yeah, did really well.
Yeah, so I'll caught the tail end of it. Obviously, I said last week the cycling was, I love it. And Great Britain didn't probably do as well as they have done in the previous two Olympics. But of course, the Kenny couple became the most decorated Olympians of all time. Jason Kenny, I don't know if you saw his interview, just like after he won his last one, I said, I wasn't really up for it this morning. I'll be honest, really up for it, but what do you do? Going out and win Olympic gold, mate. That's it. And unfortunately, Laura Kenny in the big, in the multi-event one, is it the Omnium or whatever they call it?
Yeah.
Got knocked out, got the part of a big crash in the first event. So only finished sixth. But yeah, so it's good. And of course, Britain finished with 65 medals in total, of which 22 were gold. Because they did well in the boxing arena as well, didn't they, in the end? So
yeah, I saw the guy from Birmingham. His final fight, he was quality.
Yeah, he was. Yeah. He was, and the Welsh girl won her fight well as well, easily. So good. But on the back of that, I was going to ask you a question, Stuart. I've not prompted you about this because you've spoken about, and I think you looked about the 2 weeks ago the rugby sevens you're into. You've talked about binge watching kind of bits and bobs and Modern Pentathlon there now, and I'm much the same. Because I watched a bit of surfing one day, BMX biking, skateboarding. You know, it brought to me, how about a relaunch of a grandstand style program where instead of, what was it back in the day, my granddad used to watch the wrestling and the horse racing. What about focusing on some of these sports and taking some cameras and doing them live and featuring it? I know there's money and all that involved, but BBC have, don't get much live sport because it's a financial thing. We understand that. But obviously they find the money or they get the contacts for things like the Olympics. And if they were to do a weekly show on a Saturday or a Friday or whatever, not even if it wasn't live, just a magazine show featuring all these different sports, like the climbing. Did you see some of the climbing?
Oh, they're phenomenal.
Unbelievable. Then actually, if they were featured more, these athletes who arguably are better or in their game or as fit or do as much work, whatever you want to say, as any other athlete representing the country would be able to get more backing, more sponsorship, more exposure. And plus for sports buffs like us, I guess, that what a show.
Yeah, I think definitely anything that's going to expose a sport to show what's going on, obviously then prompts people to be of interest a bit, then can improve participation levels. You could go and watch the climbing. And that climbing where they're running, it's almost like they're running up a wall. It's like the Spider-Man. And I watched the guy did it in 5.5 seconds and set the Olympic record. And I was like, oh my goodness, 5.5 seconds, I probably got 1 foot on the wall, never mind anything else. But
absolutely.
For sports like that, and like you're saying, is that you've got the skateboarders that were phenomenal. The young girl, Sky, at 13, that comes and wins medal. You've got the girl on the bike that failed the first time she did that move, and then attempted on the second time. And you've got to say that has got some certain things of steel to go and do that in your second and final run. But to cover sports like that, where maybe you'll find that the next person that watches it goes, oh, I wouldn't mind trying that and getting involved in it. So maybe it's not just down to the BBC. It's funny. Maybe it's down to Sport England, UK Sport, to say maybe we do push these sports and we get some camera crews there and we split the bill and we put it on there. I think it's a great idea, and I think I'd watch it. I'd definitely watch it. And I remember watching when there was nothing on, watching Grandstand on a Saturday afternoon, even Ski Sunday.
Yeah.
And it's just because it's a sport and you're seeing people at the elite level. So yeah, I'd fully embrace that. There's one thing I was going to ask you is they're talking about changing the modern pentathlon. So I thought about a great idea. What they should do is put all the individual sports in a bowl, and then they pick out obviously 7 different individual sports at the end of the Olympics, and they pick them out and they go, "There's a pentathlon for the next time around."
Okay.
and then anybody then that's within them areas can then train for the next 4 years to try and hit it.
Go, yeah.
This could be there you go.
Well, I was going to say maybe we should just take over. What we'll do is we'll do all the coverage, Sport and Jibberish Saturday or something, of all these sports, and then we'll just take on the Olympic Committee. Interesting enough, 2028, I think cricket's going to be back in the Olympics. So
some sleeping time.
Yeah, that'd be brilliant.
Well, we're talking about sleeping time. Go on then. Test match. England are a disaster.
I think the rain saved them. The weather saved them. But yeah, so last week they were. The weather definitely saved them. If the rain hadn't come, then I'm pretty sure they lost. It was evenly poisoned, actually. To be fair to England batting lot, I think to be fair to Joe Root, he at least got them a total that, I don't think they would have defended. But with the weather around and the conditions, it would have been quite interesting. But I think India needed 150 to win with 9 wickets left going into day 5, and there was no play. So, but I'll be interested to see what happens, because the batting line is rejigging. They've only now got 3 test matches before the Ashes, if that goes ahead. But they've got 3 test matches. I think it's about time they ripped it up. But the squad's been picked. They've not changed it. They've added Moeen Ali to it, which is a good thing. I think he has to play to become the spinner and the lower order batsman to extend the batting lineup. But whether they'll mix around, I mean, they've got batsmen in the squad, but Ollie Pope, they reckon, might not be fully fit, so that obviously rules him out. They've got young Hamid, who I've mentioned before on the podcast. I think he has to play. He certainly needs 3 test matches to see if he's got it back at that level. But yeah, just same old, really, that a lot relies on Joe Root. And if he fails, we look an absolute shadow of what a test match side should look like.
Yeah, considering, 12 months ago, we're on the verge of going out to India, being one of the best teams in the world.
Yeah.
It's that top changes very quickly.
It is. It's that top order. I mean, I suppose it's a bit like playing football, and you probably would have done it at the levels we've played at. It's like having a great attacking lineup, but as soon as somebody takes a shot at your goalkeeper, it's a goal. Well, it doesn't matter how good you are up front, if your goalkeeper's conceding pretty much every time there's a shot, you're struggling. And it's the same in England, effectively. I mean, I don't know the stats. There would be something out there. Effectively, we're giving them 2 wickets every time we go out on to bat, because 2 of that top 3 are invariably out for single figures or not very many. And then that's rooting pressure always on. So Root's always against a fairly new ball, which obviously brings its challenges. So he's not the other day on Saturday was absolutely tremendous. They say it's one of his best hundreds, and it would have been in the conditions. And again, he was in early. So they've got to find a way of scoring some more runs, and other people, particularly now, obviously, Stokes is having a sort of a rest away from the game at the moment to look after his mental health. So it's a lot of pressure on Joe Root as well.
So when does that start again? When's the first day?
So Thursday it starts. So when this goes out, it would be sort of into day 2. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, I would definitely pick Moeen Ali, get him in the side somewhere, and I'll definitely bring Pope and Hamid in if Pope's fit, and rejig and have a go, because they've got to be given a go. It's no good going saying we'll give them another chance. And I'm all for giving people one more chance and one less, I think. But they've had plenty now, and if you don't make the change now, you're likely as you're going to an Ashes Test match with another complete new brand new batting lineup, and that's not ideal.
No. While we're on the subject of cricket, Jack, what's going on with yourselves and Dubai Wanderers? Let us know before we finish off.
Yeah, so good. So the boys have had 2 training sessions now back in Dubai. Obviously, a decent turnout. Clint's very happy with what he's seen so far. Mostly new members, so I've not met them yet. Obviously, I head back to the desert tomorrow or Thursday night, so I'll be there. I think the next training session is Monday, so I'm looking forward to that. If else, I met the kit supplier here, so that's all in motion. And our first league game is the 17th of September, which is all good. Yes, looking forward to it. I actually watched Woodall on Saturday. Unfortunately, I lost to Boston in, it's probably one of the worst Premier League games I've ever seen, I'll be quite honest with you. But, there were a bit of lucky at times. But, but it did sort of get the bug saying, I'm ready to have another hit. So I'm looking forward to that next week and see what happens from there on in. And the big game is October the 30th.
Oh, is that with Exiles? You play Exiles?
Yeah.
I think we'll come down in full force, me, Larkin and Matty Aldred.
Yeah, that's it. The fans, the Wanderers. They'll be a Wanderer.
Yeah.
What about you, footballing wise? Are you back into it yet since you've been back?
Yeah, I was offered a game last week when I was in England for a vets team, but unfortunately I'd already had something arranged, so I couldn't make that. And then I'm back training actually tonight. So today is Wednesday. We're recording this.
Yeah. So
first training session back tonight. Need to start losing this holiday weight. It's looking a bit fat-faced at the moment. So aim is to get myself in a bit better shape come a couple of weeks' time before we go back to work, and then ready for the new season starting. But looking forward to a bit of a runabout. Not so much the heat, but just kicking the ball.
You won't have to sweat to run around, will it? Anyway, you could just.
Oh no, just driving the car. I'd probably lose half a stone there.
But, exactly.
But,
good stuff.
Yes, right. As we're going to end the show, we are actually going to pass over to Ian Larkin to finish the show today. He's going to go through some hints and tips. You got any hints and tips from your team, Jack, for the fantasy football?
Well, I did notice, I think we mentioned last year, that there's not many out-and-out strikers or in the forwards bit, So even the likes of, I think I've picked Sonny. He's down as a midfielder. I think Salah's still down as a midfielder. So my tip would be perhaps do not maybe put all your money up front, because I know that's where the goals come from. But I have picked Harry Kane. I know I've probably taken a punt on that in terms of whether he plays this weekend or not. But other than that, I've gone for 2 sort of lesser strikers and trying to put all my money into my midfield. And also look out for guys who are maybe out on loan or in those lesser teams that are definitely going to play week in, week out, which I didn't do last year. I don't think I kind of turned my nose up at the lower league side, and actually you need it. You mentioned Sarr at Watford. I nearly looked at him. I think you're better off going with people like that, particularly maybe midfield wise. At least you're picking up points, even if they're not, a great goal scorer from midfield or an assister. So that's what I would look at.
Oh, good stuff. I've gone similar with my midfield. I've really packed out the midfield. I've got at the moment and I will. There's a good chance I might change this team before the first game on Friday. Is I've got Salah, Jota, Fernandes in there. But my thought process was that as and when Kane's movement arrives, whether he stays or goes, and also the potential of Lukaku coming in, I'll then use, I could probably forfeit Fernandes, the money that you get Fernandes, dropping a lesser midfielder then to maybe pump some more money into the strikers. So yeah, I've got room for movement. I've got a few wild cards in there, and I've got some of the old ones that everybody probably has. Probably everybody's got Trent in there. Salah's always going to be one. Fernandes will be another one. Some people might opt for Mane instead of Fernandes, just as a different opportunity, especially Liverpool playing Norwich first game. United having a harder game. So it's all up for. But if you've not signed up yet, guys, get involved. New sponsor this year, Studio One's going to be involved in sponsorship. So we're looking forward to releasing all the prizes next week. Very excited. I think we're getting a free, 2-week all-inclusive stay, aren't we, Jack?
That's what I heard, yes, Stu. That's what I heard.
Yeah. So we'll just tag Shelling and Studio One later on. But yeah, we're going to pass over to Larko to finish us off for today. But we look forward to speaking to you guys next week after Liverpool have won 6-0 against Norwich.
Come on, you Spurs.